there's two scripture verses that came to mind to kind of portray where Adam and I have been through our marriage. The first one was Proverbs 26:11, which is, as a dog returns to its own vomit, so a fool repeats his foolishness. And we used to go to church with a guy named Kurt, who coined that phrase, being a vomit licker. And that's always stuck with me. And I use that a lot. I'm like, stop being a vomit licker. We've got to stop being a vomit licker. And so we were vomit lickers for many years of our marriage. And I feel like Nathan's going to use this against me wherever he is. Because I'm terrified I'm going to say something that he can use against me, since I do this to him all the time. But for years we would do stupid stuff and just keep doing stupid stuff over and over. And you know what? We made it through, and it was awful, but we made it through. And then the verse that after, I think it was, we were talking about it earlier, I think roughly 13 years ago, we decided that we were done financially being vomit lickers, and we were going to get out of debt, minus our mortgage and his school loans, and stay that way. And that was not an easy process, but we got there. We got completely out of all debt other than our mortgage and his school loans. And then we started putting back and kind of investing, not crazy investing, like an IRA. And we met with Mark, I don't know, it was probably, I think we figured 13 years ago, and I honestly, this probably sounds bad, I don't remember anything about the meeting. I know what we ate, but I do. But I don't really remember much about the actual meeting. And so I was telling Adam, I was like, why did we even have them over? I don't even remember, really. And he said, like, we talked to them. We wanted them to speak into our finances. And he reminded me that Mark made the kind of challenge to us is, if God called you to do X, would you be able to do it? Would you be able to just go and do it? Or would finances hold you back? And the answer at the time was, we could afford to lose, like, my income, but if something were to happen to him, we would not be able to weather that. And so that kind of challenged us to, we really need to get serious about this. And so the scripture that came to mind from that moment to now, which I'm not good at math, so I don't know how many years it is, it's a lot, is Psalm 85:11, which is, faithfulness springs up from the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. So as we continue to be faithful, his righteousness began falling on us in the areas that we were seeking that for. And everything was going great. We had good jobs. 2020, while it was like a storm for everybody else, 2020 was great for us. It didn't really affect us until it did. Adam got a very significant raise, I don't know, November-ish, something, that was going to take effect January 2021. And it was enough that it was almost what my salary was for a 9-month position. So it was a significant raise. And we were looking forward to what more we could do with that, how much more we could put back, and all that kind of stuff that you dream about. And then December 2020 hit, and we both worked for the same employer, and we received an email late December, like during Christmas break, that said in order to keep our jobs, we had to do something that we didn't agree with. And we didn't agree with it separately, and then when we actually talked about it, we didn't agree with it as a couple, talked about it with our kids, didn't agree with it, and it was like, okay, we're faced with this. And honestly, in that moment, I thought, this isn't going to be a big issue. We're going to be able to find a loophole or find a compromise, and it's not really going to be a thing that we're going to have to deal with. And that was not true. January 2021, after several days of kind of going back and forth with our employer, it came down to you either do this or you guys don't have jobs anymore. It's as simple as that. And I want to convey that this was not a decision that we felt like God was telling us to do. It wasn't God said, don't do this. It was something, a core belief inside of us as individuals that we didn't agree with and had decided we are not doing it. We felt his peace and his backing in it, but it was not him telling us to do it. I want to make that clear. And so I remember we were in Noblesville first week of January, first few days of January, I think, and Adam gets the phone call, and I got an email saying that, you're done, this is your last day. Adam got the phone call, and we're both sitting in the truck, and I am not a crier, but the last 2 years have been off the market. We're sitting in the truck, and I was in disbelief. I was thinking, there is no way this is happening right now. We are not both losing our jobs on the same day. That's 100% of our income. And they said, you're done. Adam, I think, had 7 employees under him. They said, you have 1 hour to contact your employees and let them know what's happening before we do it for you. And I had to sit in the truck and watch him call every single one of those employees. He's bawling, they're bawling, and it was so difficult. And I kept thinking, I don't believe this is happening. So he made his phone calls, everybody's sobbing, and then we had to go through people begging us to change our minds. And I never thought that would be a difficult thing, because I'm pretty headstrong, but it was very difficult to have people that we were very close with working, begging us to change our minds and to remain strong in that, because we knew that it was not something that we were supposed to do. And looking at them and having to say, I can't do it. I can't back down from this. I drew the line in the sand, and I believe that we're on the right side of that line for us. And we stuck with that line. And then our kids had to go through people making comments to them about how stupid their parents were being, and how we were ruining their lives, and we're ruining everybody's lives. And so we're a complete mess. Obviously, we were terrible parents, and we heard it all. And so it was very difficult to go through that, but we still had, even though I was in shock and disbelief, we still had a peace about it. It didn't make any sense because we now had 0 income. But we had a peace about it, and learning how to fight through the major hurt that caused, and then just fighting bitterness. We had to work through that. But even still, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're still going to be fine. The man has 3 degrees. He's going to be able to find a job, and I can do whatever. I'll work wherever and get a job. And then March hit, and we still didn't have jobs. And it was like we just kept hitting wall after wall. Like, okay, well, we're not going to be employed. We're just going to lose everything. And we did not. By end of March, I had 2 part-time jobs, and I'll let him talk about what he was doing. And then finally in July, I received a full-time job that was making half of what we were making, because we only got 1 paycheck of his nice raise. That was his final paycheck. We were making half of what we were making before we got let go. And due to a decision that we had made 13 years prior, we didn't feel it. We were making half of what we had been making, and we didn't have to change our lifestyle so much so that we felt like we couldn't leave the house because we couldn't spend the gas. We were still living as we were prior to that because of what we had done. And it's not like we didn't have things that hit, because whenever we sat down and we're talking about shortly after whenever we lost our jobs, we had $13,000 worth of unexpected expenses that just all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. My car died, Amelia's car died, Aiden totaled our truck. We had to have a software update on one of our vehicles. Our water heater died. Adam had to get 2 MRIs. And Amelia was going through a fairly expensive treatment that we still had 2 months left on whenever we got let go. And we were just hemorrhaging money. But had we not made the decision 13 years prior to begin being intentional about our finances and putting back, when this would hit, because we had no idea why we were doing it. I thought it was probably going to be something great, that you're expecting we're going to be able to do awesome things with this money. And I guess in a way it was. It kept us afloat. And we are still weathering that. We are not back to where we were before, but we had and still have absolute peace that the decision we made was the right decision, and that everything that has happened as a result after that has been, it is what it is type thing. But I will let